All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rachaparash, giving double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Peace and salutations to the Akim, the brethren out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth in 100% sincerity. And peace and salutations to the few and sincere sisters who believe in this gospel. So I want to entitle this lesson, The Time is Coming, Continue to Watch and Pray. Right? The time is coming, meaning the end of the world, the end of this current kingdom or the world as we know it, right? And we know this via what? Bible prophecy, biblical prophecy, which I'm going to go into today, Lord willing, this video lesson is edifying, right? But we're seeing a lot of things that's happening, right? Especially with this whole DJ Trump Venezuela thing, especially with that thing in Greenland, Denmark, Trump coming against NATO allies, talking mess, talking crap, and basically making enemies across the world, making enemies, even with their own allies. But that's prophesied in the scriptures, right? So the time of the end, the time that we've been watching for, these times that we have been going into for the longest, especially those who came before me, who have been going into it for decades, from the elders, apostles, and bishops of Great Millstone on down. These times that we've been speaking of are now at hand. You know what I'm saying? So we got to prepare and be ready for our deliverance, for our salvation, right? So let me go ahead and get this one to start off. The book of Second Ezra, chapter 9, it says, starting at verse 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning, right? It says, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, right? So the end is what? Manifest. Meaning that we're here, we're near here, right? These are as we call it, these are the end times, right? There's no time like this before. Of course, there's always been rumors of wars and rumors of wars. But at the same time, this is in the context of what? Babylon the Great, the fourth beast, or the revival of the Roman Empire, right? And we can go into the book of Daniel, chapter 7, and you can clearly see that. You can clearly see that this is the fourth beast, or the revival of the Roman Empire, right? This is the book of Second Peter, chapter 3, and verse 10. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up, right? What's that great noise? The great noise is the nuclear ICBM missiles touching down here on Babylon the Great, right? The scriptures also describe it as a great earthquake, right? Because it's going to be so many nuclear ICBM missiles, it's going to cause the earth to move to and fro. Let's get that. Was that? Yeah. Let's go here, and I'm going to start at verse 18, Isaiah chapter 24. It says, "And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare, for the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved, the earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth." Right. So the earth is going to reel to and fro like a drunkard because of what? Because there's going to be so many nuclear missiles hitting this place, right? Babylon the Great specifically, right? AKA America. There's going to be so many nuclear missiles, it's going to cause the entire earth to shake. And what does it say after that? It says, "And it shall come to pass," it says, "that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth." Who is this? The wicked elite, right? Primarily wicked elite of Esau, Edom, right? Like the Rothschilds, like the the Warburgs, um, and some other names. All of these, basically, all of these elite international bankers who basically have held the earth hostage with rule and power and have control over a lot of the decision making that happens to just the everyday person, things that trickle down to the everyday person. And what do these people eventually want to do? They want to bring about a microchip, which will be the MOTB, the mandatory implementation of the microchip in your body, right? Salakia, bear with me. 21:36. Okay. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, and I'm going to start at verse 34. It says, "And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares," right? So we're not supposed to be caught up in the affairs of this world, right? Let me go here real quick. It says, this is the book of Second Timothy chapter 2, starting at verse 3. It says, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahweh Shai. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. And if any man also strive for masteries, yet he not crowned, except he strive lawfully," right? So we're not supposed to entangle with the affairs of this life. We're not supposed to be concerned with what's going on, or not necessarily not be concerned with what's going on in this world, but not concerned with the everyday civilian, you know what I'm saying? The typical shit that the average person is worried about. We're not supposed to be entangling ourselves and mingled in with that type of mindset, right? Because all of that is distractions. You know, everyday Jake is worried about what's going on social media, what's happening with these celebrities. You know what I'm saying? They favorite sports teams, um, football, basketball, baseball, even. Um, when the next party is, what the clubs is looking like on the weekends, what's the next best spot. You know what I'm saying? Now we can take enjoyment in some of these things with moderation. But the mindset that we have in this ministry is that we know and understand that all of this stuff is going to be ending real soon. So we don't invest spiritually into this world. We don't invest spiritually into the affairs of Babylon the Great, right? You can engage in certain things. You can go to sports games. You can watch sports, TV, NFL, you know, go out, go out even. Although me myself, you know, I just refrain from clubs and super, places with these big, large gatherings and things like that, right? If you want to go out, go to a low key bar or a lounge or something like that. That's what I would recommend. But stay away from these large crowds of concerts, um, these large gatherings of people in these events, because you don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what can happen, especially when it comes to a T attack, right? You got all of these immigrants that Biden and his administration had led over here, and Trump is under the guise of trying to clean it up, but not really, right? But you got all of these, quote unquote illegal immigrants that then came over here undocumented. So ain't no telling how many sleeper cells is over here in America. You know what I'm saying? Via what previous administrations have allowed to happen, right? So let's go back here to Luke. Oh, I said Luke 21 and 34. So this is the book of Luke, chapter 21, 35. It says, "For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the earth. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man," right? So we got to watch and pray that we be worthy. Pray that we be a part of the elect. Pray that we be, you know, what's the right word I'm looking for? Salakia. But basically, pray that we be worthy in that day of judgment, right? To escape all of the perils of this earth, all of the perils of judgment in the day of the Lord's wrath, and be delivered, right? We got to continually pray every single day. Speaking of myself, first and foremost, we got to continually pray every day. We got to, remain spiritual, right? Because what are these things that we got to escape? Um, it's the book of Second Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 5. It says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the earth, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled," right? I'm going to skip down to verse 10. It says, "Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt," right? What modern day Egypt is America. It says, "But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof," right? So we're looking to escape plagues, right? The day of the Lord. I believe this is in Zephaniah. Okay, no, it was Amos. Okay. This is the book of Amos, chapter 5, and verse 18. It says, "Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion, and the bear met him, or went into the house and leaned on his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it," right? So these days that are coming, man, the day of the Lord, or Yahweh's, the day of judgment, the day of the Lord's wrath, right, that is coming is going to be very dark. It's going to be very gruesome, There's going to be a lot of judgment going around, right? Unfiltered, uncut, at a steep discount, right? The Lord is going to be judging out or handing out judgments left and right. You know what I'm saying? There's a scripture that says, you know, roughly paraphrasing, every morning do I bring about don't yeah, every morning do I bring about judgment. I'm roughly paraphrasing that. But the Lord is, especially in this day and time and age, right? Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shah is going to be judging the entire earth, right? And everyone in it. So we got to do the works that we got to do now in this ministry. You know what I'm saying? In this ministry, and do what is pleasing to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shah. So the Lord will look upon us with mercy and will look upon us with favor. Let me try this. Come on. It's like it. I know it's in Psalms. Here it is. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 35 and verse 24. It says, Judge me, O Lord, my power, according to thy righteousness, and let them not rejoice over me, right? So we ask that the Lord judge us according to his righteousness, his mercy, his loving kindness. So I was looking for a scripture that said I must have phrased it incorrectly. But yeah, we want the Lord to judge us according to his mercy and loving kindness and not his wrath. Because it's gonna be very bad in that day for those who get judged by the wrath of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? We want to be judged with mercy and eventually receive salvation, right? It's the book of Philippians, chapter 2 and verse 12. It says, Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, right? So we're supposed to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, right? We're supposed to work out, you know, do what we can do, you know. Of course, we aid in helping the body, you know, when brothers need um, um, comfort, counsel, or particular things, we be brotherly and we act in the spirit, which that's a part of us receiving our salvation, how we treat the brothers, how we treat the brotherhood, and how we conduct ourselves among each other, right? But ultimately, we're supposed to worry about doing what we got to do to to receive salvation. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, these times are coming. We're living in that day and in that age where judgment is about to be going out crazy throughout the earth. Judgment is already going out throughout the earth, but it's going to be like a day like never before. You know what I'm saying? Esau's gonna come down with his military, um, with his different units of the military. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna come for Jake. You know, they're gonna be like madmen, sparing none. So, and particular parts of these things are already happening, right? They're already happening, but it's just going to ramp up even more and more and more, right? It's going to ramp up, as time goes on, right? And when I say as time goes on, I'm not talking about years and years and years. I'm talking about months, really. So, Lord willing, this video lesson was edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Chavorash. And until next time, Shalom.